What would you do if the person you trusted most betrayed you in front of everyone you loved, and they all turned against you? My name is Clara, and I never thought I'd be the villain in my own story. But that night, at our family's annual summer party, my world unraveled in ways I never could have imagined. The backyard was alive with laughter, the kind that wraps around you like a warm blanket. Fairy lights twinkled above the long wooden table, where my parents, siblings, and cousins clinked glasses of lemonade and wine. My boyfriend, Ethan, was by my side, his hand resting lightly on mine. For 3 years, he'd been my rock, charming, attentive, the man who made me believe in forever. Our families adored him, especially my mom, who called him the son she never had. That night, we were celebrating not just summer but our engagement, announced just a week before. The ring on my finger sparkled under the lights, a promise of a future I thought was certain. As I refilled my glass, I noticed Ethan slip away toward the house. I didn't think much of it, been helping with the party setup all day. But then, a murmur rippled through the crowd. Heads turned toward the patio doors. I followed their gaze, and my heart stopped. A woman stood there, her silhouette framed by the glow of the house lights. She was tall, with sleek blonde hair and a red dress that clung to her like a second skin. She wasn't just beautiful, she was magnetic, the kind of presence that demanded attention. And she was staring right at me. "Who's that?" my cousin Lila whispered, her voice tinged with curiosity. I shook my head, a knot forming in my stomach. The woman stepped forward, her heels clicking on the stone path, and Ethan emerged behind her. His face was pale, his eyes darting between her and me. "Clara," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "This is Vanessa." The name hit me like a slap. Vanessa. I'd heard it before, in fleeting moments. Ethan's coworker, the one he mentioned in passing, always with a casual laugh. But there was nothing casual about the way she looked at him now, or the way his hand hovered near her, as if caught between reaching out and pulling back. "Clara, right?" Vanessa's voice was smooth, almost mocking. "Ethan's told me so much about you." She paused, her lips curling into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "I'm his, well, let's just say I'm more than a friend." The air seemed to vanish from the backyard. My family's chatter died, replaced by a suffocating silence. I felt their eyes on me, waiting for my reaction. My mom's glass froze halfway to her lips. My brother, Jake, leaned forward, his brow furrowed. I wanted to scream, to demand answers, but my voice caught in my throat. "Ethan, what is she talking about?" I finally managed, my words trembling. Before he could answer, Vanessa laughed, a sharp, cutting sound. "Oh, honey, don't play dumb. You had to know. Why else would he spend so many late nights at the office? Or did you think those business trips were just for work?" My knees buckled. I gripped the edge of the table, the ring on my finger suddenly heavy. Ethan stepped forward, his hands raised. "Clara, it's not what you think. I can explain." "Explain?" Vanessa interrupted, her voice rising. "Explain how you've been with me for the last 6 months. How you told me Clara was too clingy, too controlling. How you said you were only staying with her because you felt sorry for her." The words were knives, each one slicing deeper. I looked at Ethan, searching for a denial, but his silence was deafening. My family's faces blurred through the tears stinging my eyes. And then, my mom spoke. "Clara," she said softly, maybe this is for the best." I turned to her, stunned. "What?" She hesitated, her eyes darting to Vanessa, then back to me. You've been so intense lately. Always checking Ethan's phone, questioning where he's been. Maybe you pushed him away. My heart shattered. My own mother, the woman who'd taught me to stand up for myself, was siding with them. I looked around, desperate for support, but my dad avoided my gaze. Jake muttered something about not getting involved. Even Lila, my closest confidant, just stared at her plate. You deserve this, Vanessa said, stepping closer. You suffocated him. You made him feel trapped. I wanted to scream that it wasn't true, that I'd only been cautious because Ethan had grown distant, because I'd sensed something was wrong. But the weight of their judgment crushed me. My family, the people I'd trusted most, believed her. They believed I was the problem. I fled to the house, locking myself in the bathroom. My reflection stared back at me, pale and hollow. How had it come to this? I'd spent years building a life with Ethan, planning our future, believing in us. And now, I was the villain. That's when the door creaked open. I hadn't noticed it was unlocked. A figure slipped inside, a woman, older, with kind eyes and graying hair. It was Anne-Marie, my dad's sister, who'd been quietly helping in the kitchen all evening. I'd barely spoken to her in years. She was the family recluse, always on the fringes. Clara, she said gently, closing the door behind her. Don't let them do this to you. I wiped my eyes, confused. What do you mean? She sat on the edge of the tub, her voice steady but firm. I saw this coming. Not Vanessa, but Ethan. I've watched him for months. The way he talks over you, dismisses your ideas. I didn't say anything because I thought you were happy. But tonight, seeing your family turn on you, it's not right. Her words were a lifeline, pulling me from the depths of my despair. Why is everyone blaming me? I whispered. Marie sighed. Because it's easier. They love Ethan's charm, his stories. They don't want to admit they misjudged him. But I've been where you are. My ex-husband was just like him, charming until he wasn't. I stayed silent too long, and I won't let you do the same. I stared at her, the twist of her presence shifting everything. She wasn't just the quiet aunt I'd overlooked, she was a survivor, someone who saw through the facade when no one else did. Her words gave me a spark of strength I didn't know I had left. Clara, she continued, you don't deserve this. You deserve to be seen, to be heard. Don't let them rewrite your story. I took a shaky breath, her words sinking in. She was right. I'd spent so long trying to please everyone, Ethan, my family, that I'd lost myself. Vanessa's words, my family's betrayal, they were wrong. I wasn't the villain. I was someone who loved fiercely, trusted deeply, and been hurt in return. I stood, wiping my face. What do I do now? Marie smiled, a glint of defiance in her eyes. You go out there, and you take back your story. I returned to the backyard, my heart pounding but my resolve firm. The crowd was quieter now, Vanessa's arm looped through Ethan's as she laughed with my cousins. I walked straight to the center of the table, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. Everyone, I said, loud enough to silence the murmurs. I need to say something. All eyes turned to me. Ethan's face paled. Vanessa's smile faltered. I loved Ethan, I began, my voice growing stronger. I trusted him. And I trusted all of you. But tonight, you showed me I was wrong to do that. You blamed me without asking my side, without seeing how I've fought to keep this family together. I'm not perfect, but I don't deserve this. I turned to Vanessa. You think you've won, but you haven't. You're with a man who lies, who betrays. And Ethan, I faced him, my voice unwavering, you're not the man I thought you were. I'm done. I slipped the ring off my finger and set it on the table. Gasps rippled through the crowd. My mom reached out, but I stepped back. I deserve better, I said, looking at my family. And I'll find it. I walked away, Marie's hand on my shoulder, her quiet strength guiding me. The backyard faded behind me, but for the first time that night, I felt free. I wasn't the villain. I was Clara, and I was enough.